You ready for another long, rambly video? I've been thinking about sharing my testimony on here for a long time. I haven't for several reasons, but most notably just because, I don't know, I don't want to get, I fear the reaction video. You're getting cooked. Getting cooked, bruh. I may or may not allow comments on here. I don't know. I might or might not get a whole bunch of video responses or reaction videos. We'll see. I don't know. I figure if I help even one person, oops, bug. If I help even one person come to grips better with reality or with their theology or philosophy, then that's a win. I'm holding a child, so sorry in advance. So I grew up PCA, that's Presbyterian Church in America. So I grew up Presbyterian. My parents sent me to private Christian school, kindergarten through 12th grade. So I grew up in the Presbyterian Church. After high school, I went to college, went to a state school, and dabbled around in various churches, eventually settled on the Baptist. Why? Because they let me sleep in and they had the best lunches. After college, I moved across the country to a very, very small town. The place only had 4 churches, and one of them was Catholic. So I chose to go to the one that was closest to me, Church of Christ. I did not know the differences of the Church of Christ denomination, movement, whatever, and they didn't make a big deal out of it either. They're good people. We still keep in touch. Got married, had a couple kids, and in 2020, the world ended. We realized we need to move back home. So, or at least closer to relatives. We can't be so far away. We were the odd one out, so to speak. So we basically took a line between my hometown, where my family was, and where my wife's hometown and family were. Or like anywhere on this line, preferably at the ends, because that's where our family is. Well, God led us to this tiny little town, and not about halfway, and plugged us into a Nazarene church. Like led us to a Nazarene church. I had no idea what the different denominational differences were of the Nazarene church. We fell in love with this particular congregation. The pastor is great, which meant that the associate pastors are also great, and the rest of the congregation was great, so we liked it. Most importantly was their response to 2020. Regardless of what you think about it, like this was our logic behind it was a church leadership that feared God in this crisis is going to fear God instead of man in the next crisis. Now, up until this point, I had been theologically coasting. Up through 12th grade, I learned a whole bunch of knowledge and facts and stuff, important Bible verses and some key concepts here and there. But in terms of like the doctrines of grace, never heard about them. I memorized catechism. I was one of the 2 guys in my class who would do home runs in the catechism baseball thing. So I at least memorized this stuff more so than others in my class. But I didn't understand a whole lot of the concepts. And despite growing up Presbyterian, I came away with a very Arminian understanding of soteriology. I didn't realize it at the time. Fast forward to now, people ask, like, hey, where are you going to church now? And they're like, well, go to a Nazarene church. 4 close people, 2 of which were immediate family members, said, oh, so not Reformed. What? What do you mean not Reformed? Basically, I took that as what, we're no different than the Catholics? I don't think that any of these folks meant it that way. I don't think they meant it like, oh, you're no different or no better than the Catholics. They just meant like not Reformed. I now since come to understand that there's a difference between just Protestant and actually Reformed. But at the time, this was a couple of years ago, I was just like, what in the world? So I did a deep dive into Reformed theology, which I'm sure is every Calvinist dream. And lo and behold, I come out more Arminian than before. Oh no. I'm in a bit of a weird spot theologically, soteriologically. why. I'm gonna start walking backwards so you can still see my face. So my understanding and experience is very Arminian, but there are a lot of people who had a road to Damascus style experience where God just knocked them over the head and said, like, look, you're going to believe in me now. I'm like, oh, okay. I think both are valid. I think both are equally valid. I think God uses either means. Some people get a spiritual tornado going through them, and other people like me just have completely calm spiritual winds. Like, we don't feel anything. But I think both groups are saved, so I think that both are equal. I think both are equally valid. That's what I mean. All right, here we're going to do the sidestep. Screw it. I'm just going to stand here and talk. Pray that the mosquitoes don't bite. It strikes me that there are Calvinist Reform guys out there who insist that there's only heads on a coin, and they're pointing to the heads and they say, "What are you talking about? A tails? Like, if you see a tails, there is no tails. There's only heads." You got Arminians on the other side of this coin that's like floating in midair between them. It says, "What are you talking about? Heads? There's only tails. You gotta choose tails." I'm trying to step back. I think I'm stepping back, and I see both of them as valid. The coin is Christ. Whether or not you accept him is, does God make you accept him, or does God let you freely accept him? Which, of course, as Calvinists would say, oh, no, we freely accept him. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Just details notwithstanding, just like God calls us to respond, so respond. Overall, I can't say that this deep dive into Reformed theology was a net loss. I learned a lot. Did a lot of good soul searching, even though I came out on the reprobate side of soteriology. It's probably a good thing that it's getting too dark. I can't even delve into atheism. My conclusion basically for atheism is that I don't like it. Anyone who, I don't know, just not my thing. I actually get and understand why people would discount, disregard, reject the God of the Bible, any gods, all these fanciful deities with their sacred texts and whatnot. I understand why people would reject them, all of them. What I don't understand is why someone would then say, okay, we have value, we exist. There is a we in the first place. I told you, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Just forget about it. Honestly, it's another can of worms, and watch, all the atheists are going to flock to this now. Oh, no. What I've come to find is that denomination matters a lot less than leadership. The leadership of a church matters a lot more than what denomination they say they're from. Whether they be Reformed, not Reformed, Pentecostal, dispensationalist or dispensationalist, Catholic, Orthodox, whatever. What matters is the leadership of any particular congregation, organization, etc. That's going to determine how good the teaching is, how good the sub-leadership is, how good the congregation is, and therefore how good the prospective congregants are. Any theology that doesn't do anything, that meets on Sundays for 3 or 4 hour sermons and then goes home and reads tons and tons and tons, but never goes out and does anything, it's not good. The same thing with the congregation that doesn't read at all. There's a balance here. I can get along with Reformed guys and Catholic guys just fine. When we're all focused on doing something good and noble and we're all working together on it, that's great. I can get along with Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. I've done that in the past too. I had a boss that was Mormon. He had, the traditional 9 kids and everything. And then I'm still good friends with a family of Jehovah's Witnesses. They're good people, despite our quite massive theological differences. Okay, that's the life. I gotta get going. Anyhow, in conclusion, go out and do something with your theology. Don't just let it rest in your head. Go out and do something with it. God bless, and I'll see you guys around.